everyone. Here we are for our third masterclass concerning communication, a series. So this is a series of communication, and today is our third class. So today what we will talk about the deliver of a great presentation. You have a presentation and you have to deliver. Is what will be the focus of our free masterclass today. Okay. But first, we need to introduce ourselves. So I'm Katya, nice to meet you. I'm a scientist, and as any scientist, I started in the lab while I was doing my degree in biology. After I did my master, PhD, postdoc, and finally, at the end, a group leader. While during my scientific career, I did a lot of presentations, talks, and sometimes it was, okay, I have my presentation ready, now I just have to deliver it, to present. And this was for me the worst part because I was nervous, I was afraid. So today I will give you also tips and I will tell you how I did it to overcome that and to get better and better delivering my talks, but also that a lot that I learned was when I was teaching others, for example, my PhD students, the people from my group, how they should present. And there it was when I was more conscious of how to tell people how they should do, okay? And when I was explaining them how they should do, I was also applying to myself. So and Osama.
So thank you everyone for tuning in, and I apologize again for my voice, so bear with me, I'm a little bit under the weather. But I am Osama. I'm a pharmacist originally by training. I worked as a pharmacist for a couple of years, but then I decided to be a neuroscientist, and I did my master's, my PhD in neuroscience. I became a postdoc and then a senior scientist. And I had the pleasure to work and interact with a lot of undergraduates, master's students, PhD students, and postdocs throughout the years. And from day one, actually, I remember that when I entered the lab as a master's student, I remember that I didn't imagine the amount of talks and presentations we have to deliver concerning journal clubs, concerning lab meetings, concerning presentation about your work, proposal, thesis defense. So we as scientists, irrespective of how high or early your career is, you have to give a presentation at a certain point. Some people give more presentation than others, but this is the main focus as a scientist. I thought back in the day before entering the lab that you only do your experiments and that's it, but it's actually 50-50. You have to do experiments and you have to communicate, you have to share your findings with others in the form of written format, of course, as a paper or something, but then much more as a presentation, either poster presentation or as an oral presentation in a conference or a meeting or a lab meeting or something like this. So the focus today will be about the delivery itself. And I remember that I was not also, as Katya, very good at it, and I was always trying to turn down invitations I have that, if I can choose. But then after that, I realized after my first year of PhD, I realized that by really avoiding it, it will not vanish or disappear. I have to really face my fear and improve. And this is basically what I did. I studied, I sought help, I was seeking help from people. And I joined a public speaking club that after a year, I became the president of this club, where in this public speaking club you get the feedback from the audience who are from different walks of life, where they give you feedback about the content and whether they understood everything and followed everything or not. And I joined a lot of competitions for science communication, and during this whole process I learned a lot. And today basically we will share with you a lot of tips concerning the delivery itself.
So let me just So kind of a summary of our last weeks about presentations. What we talked was the first phase, the planning phase, where we need to know what will be the topic, okay, what will be the time that we have to give our talk, like the minutes, how many minutes we have. Also very important that in this like will they be experts in the field? They don't know anything about the field. So this is really important for us to know if we need to introduce certain topics, certain concepts. So the language that we need to use will be more technical, less technical. So also the audience is really important for us to know will be there, like listen to us. Then also in the planning phase, we also need to know the venue. It will be online talk, like we are here, over Zoom, over YouTube channel, YouTube channel, or it will be in person. We need to go to a certain place to present, to be face to face with people. So these are really important questions to answer during the planning phase. And when we have already this phase covered, we go to the second phase, that is the preparation phase. And here, as the name says, we need to prepare our presentation. But the first thing that we should do are not the slides, okay? Don't prepare right away the slides. We need to just think a little bit, what is the message that we want to give to the other people? What is the message that we want to pass? This should be the first thing that we have to write in a paper, okay? We write, okay, this is my main message that I want people to learn. I want people to know about this. And then you decide what main points you will talk about. And after also, we need always to have a structure, okay? Introduction of our presentation, the body, and then the conclusion. So this is really important to define before we start preparing the slides. Okay? But at the end of this phase, the preparation phase arrives. Okay, I have my amazing presentation, my great presentation. Now I have to deliver it to the audience. And here for me, it's the part where I get more nervous. Okay, preparing everything, it's okay. You get used to, and you already get a method that you know what to do. But then it's like, now I have to talk. And there will be a lot of people there. So the deliver phase is really important, and is what we will talk now.
So anyways, if you missed the previous slides, we have already the links. We will attach the links to these two previous sessions for you to really know in details about the planning phase and the preparation phase. So of course, after you comfortably prepared your presentation, the perfect presentation in your comfort zone, now you need to face people in order to deliver your presentation, right? So we need just to understand that there are two types of communication. So the first type of communication is the verbal communication, where it's basically the written words and phrases in your slides. Everything that you wrote in your slides in terms of topics, titles, subtitles, all these kind of things are considered as written verbal communication. Also the other part, which would be the words that you utter on the stage to the people. So this would be basically like I'm talking now to you. This would be also the oral type or the verbal type as well of communication. This is very important, and you can actually sit at home while you are preparing the slides, write a manuscript for what exactly you will be saying and all these kind of things. But this would be the script, which would be a verbal. This is very important, but what even sometimes more important is the non-verbal communication. And the non-verbal communication aspect of your talk is concerning your body language, like what would be your posture facing the audience, what would be the gestures that you are using with your hands, the eye contact, if you're doing proper eye contact and really distributing the eye contact around the room or around the auditorium where you're giving the presentation. The facial expressions are very important, and facial expression need to be in unity and harmony with what you are saying. Like for example, if you're saying something sad, then your facial expression should be sad. If you're saying something happy, then you should be relatively happy, you know. And the tone of voice as well. The tone of voice, the intonations, you have ups and downs. Don't have a monotonous kind of voice, otherwise people will doze off and will sleep. And also it needs to be like in harmony with the facial expression. So if you are saying something sad, also the tone of voice need to be a little bit sad, or if it's happy, then it needs to be happy. So the tone of voice and the facial expression, they go hand in hand, and they need to be in harmony with each other. So
We will give some examples because this is the part that I like most is give some examples that we see in different talks.
Yeah.
Like the tone of voice when someone is like oh, hi, how are you going? Are you not? Are you cool? Are you? It's like very monotonous. Like oh my god, I'm so tired. Or for example, once there was a case where the speaker was telling that there is a high number of deaths by cancer. Okay, due to the leukemia, and he was kind of smiling like yeah, there are a lot of people dying with the leukemia. So and people didn't it was not fun at all. So if you give a bad notice or something, you are telling something that is not a happy thing, you should not smile, for example, right? Or if you say, when you are starting your talk, if you say, hi, I'm Katya, try to smile. Don't say, hi, I'm Katya, because people will say, oh my God, what is wrong with her? So yeah, these kind of things. Also, eye contact is very important because you should be looking at people, even if you are not seeing anyone, because this happens to me. I'm facing the audience, I'm looking, but sometimes I just focus like a spot at the end of the auditorium, for example. Okay, it seems that you are looking at someone, but you are not really looking at anyone. Other thing that is important that I was doing in the beginning, since I was a little bit nervous, that I asked always a friend or someone that I knew to sit in the front, in the first row. And like this, I was talking to that person that I knew. So I was feeling more comfortable. But with experience, you start really not like, okay, you see a point out there and you will be okay. You will no longer be nervous. So this is something that, we should always think about.
Yes, especially the nonverbal part of your delivery. The nonverbal communication is very important. And why it's very important? Because
60% of when you see all the communication, what is more important, if you ask people, and this is a study that was done, 60% they value more the non-verbal language, basically. As I think it happens with everyone. If we see a speaker that is serious, that is not smiling, that is monotonous, we say, oh my God, he's not in a good mood. No, we should always present as a speaker, okay? Think about the audience, think about them. I always think I want these people to learn something and to go. If they don't learn anything, at least they go with good energy.
Good vibes.
So try, good vibes. Yes. Try cheer them up somehow. Try for them to leave the room with a positive feeling. Okay, so
Well, imagine actually that the talk or the presentation that you are preparing is like food. Right? And without the seasoning, which is the nonverbal communication, it will not have the impact, right? You might have prepared the best chicken or whatever dish that you would like fresh from the oven. But then if you don't have really the enough seasoning or condiments on it that really makes the flavor speak up, then this would be exactly the nonverbal communication. Even if you have the best slides, the best figures, the theme, the colors, the fonts, everything is amazing. But without the proper nonverbal communication, which is your gestures, your posture, your tone of voice, your charisma over the stage, then the delivery itself would not be sufficient.
Yes, this reminds me a question that was done previously. Where to put your hands normally? Yeah, this is a good question, especially when we are face to face. Just try to do something with your hands, okay? Don't put in the pockets, don't stay like this, crossing. So try to give also emotion with your hands. This is
try to use the hands in your favor, right? Especially if you are not on a podium where you are actually, people can see your hands, but if you are on a stage, so you don't have a podium or lantern in front of you, what you would do is basically up and front of you, the hands. Don't use them a lot because they might be very confusing, but also don't keep them behind your back.
This is something that, again, we need
comes
to
by practice
rehearsal.
and feedback as well.
Yeah.
So it is actually very important, nonverbal communication. Why?
Because it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So this reminds me a daily example. Imagine that we are kind of sad or annoyed with someone. Other person asks you a question, and sometimes we reply like still focused or serious or annoyed, but not with that person, but we just reply to them serious. That person's like, are you okay? But it's that is not what we say, but how we say it. It's always about that. It's not only the talks or presentations, but also in our daily life.
Yes.
Right?
Actually, sometimes in certain cases, because we are not very attentive to what is being said, sometimes we don't really listen to what is being said as words, but we are more attentive to the facial expression, the tone of voice, much more, So be careful, with the nonverbal communication, especially when you are giving a presentation or a talk.
Yes.
And this needs, of course, a lot of practice and
How
can you improve? How can you improve such thing?
Yeah, for me, is what I was saying in the beginning. I know that some of you came later. So I was saying that for me, the more difficult part was the deliver of my presentation. Presenting, doing the slides, everything, the structure. Yeah, I knew it. I knew what I should do. So I had a method and I was doing that, and that's it. The more difficult part was the deliver. And how did I overcome kind of this fear, afraid of talking with a lot of people that they don't know me from anywhere. Maybe they will not like me. So it was practicing, and essential for me was the feedback from others. For example, I did it when I was doing my PhD thesis. I remember that I did 4 rehearsals with my colleagues, with my boss, and all of them. It's true, when I was starting, I was like, oh my God. But then their feedback was not so awful as I was expecting. This was the first positive thing. And second, their feedback allowed me to know what are they thinking, what are they listening, what is the message that I'm passing to them. And this make us improve, make us change something, because sometimes when we are saying something, we assume people are understanding, listening as we were listening if we were on the other side, but sometimes they are not. So practice for me is the key. And still right now, let's be honest, when I do a lot of single cell talks in meetings, conferences. Osama listens a lot of times for it. You already know them, right?
I'm an expert now in
single cell.
Yeah, it's true.
So still now I feel more confident if someone gives me the feedback.
Yeah, it's true.
So what
but
about
the practice,
you?
Coming back again to the practice, Katya. Practice, even if you are afraid of practice on the psychological level makes you reassured and know that you did this before. So when you do the real deal, like you deliver the presentation in front of audience, in your mind that I did this 3, 4, 5 times before someone before. And you are inside yourself a little bit reassured, right? So on the psychological level also it's very important, not only for the feedback, but of course for the feedback it's huge. Well, for me, to answer your question, what was very helpful for me back in the day when I was learning how to really improve, I didn't have the luxury all the time to have people around me, especially that I wanted to rehearse a lot, not only 4 or 5 times. So I was actually using the FaceTime camera in my computer, or sometimes the selfie camera, to record a video of myself. And I really dissect after that the video into the single components. So first I listen to myself without watching the video in order to see if my voice is boring and monotonous, or I did really intonations where I have ups and downs. You can really feel this with your voice. and then, or putting the emphasis on certain points where you need to really emphasize upon. And then after that, another time I watched the video only to see my hand gestures, so only the video without the audio, in order to see how did I perform, with my hand gestures, my posture, my poses, all these things. And of course, if I'm happy with only the video and only the audio, of course it's expected that when you combine both and you see the video again all together, it will be quite improved, right? And I use this technology, like the camera that we have in our computers or on your phone, in order to really record yourself and see yourself. This is very nice in order for you to accept yourself when you are performing. But of course, it is hugely important to get the feedback of others. And that's why, like the Toastmasters Club, the public speaking club that I joined, I was also sometimes using this venue in order to really ask the feedback of people, especially that they are not experts in the field. And I recycle talks and I give it in front of them, and I get feedback, especially from different backgrounds. These people who are in this club were from different backgrounds, and they are young and old. And it was very helpful for me, their feedback, and I was tweaking my talk or presentation accordingly, and then I repeat. So it's basically practicing a lot on your own, and then with people, if you have the luxury with people, getting feedback, and you put and tweak your talk and presentation accordingly, and then repeat, always repeat, in order to, and practice makes perfect.
Yeah, but don't you feel when you see yourself in the video or the sound, don't you feel strange?
Yeah, it's strange. It's traumatizing. It's traumatizing.
Yeah,
Until now, it's traumatizing to see yourself and to hear yourself. I don't like to do it, but this is your self-perception.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's true.
Others will perceive you differently, and I mean, you have to do it. And after a while, it became okayish. I still don't really like seeing myself, like speaking or like performing, but yeah, this is the only way that you would be able to really detect, especially if you have a specific kind of word that you always use, or a tick, like for example, if you're touching yourself a lot or doing something weird, you will be able to detect it because you are watching yourself, and you would see that there is a single word that you are always using, or for example, filler words like or
so,
yeah, exactly, so
that.
and a lot. So the over repetition of certain filler words, or using a lot of poses like all these kind of things, you can actually cure and treat by seeing yourself. So you have to really watch yourself.
But yeah, I agree. Practicing and doing a lot of presentations, because to be honest, right now, if I have to do a presentation tomorrow, it will be okay. I really don't care anymore, like I care in the beginning, that maybe people will don't understand what I'm... No, because I give so many talks about certain topics that I don't know, it's like I'm used to. I know what they will ask me, I know what are their thoughts, what are their questions. So I always try, even if I give the same presentation, I'll always try to modify something to be even better. So yeah, you just
yeah, of course, there's
just
always room
but
for
yeah,
improvement.
in the beginning, So
So yeah, finally, to wrap up, the delivery component of your presentation is extremely important. Not only the preparation, where you prepare the best slides, but also the delivery. Why? Think of your best public speakers, that you are your favorite public speakers, like Steve Jobs or whoever public speaker that you prefer. This public speaker, you see the end product. You see Steve Jobs, or you see Simon Sinek, like at the end product, how they deliver their presentations. You didn't see the years of practice that they were doing. You didn't see their beginning. Of course, for everyone there will be a beginning, of course. But the people that they are really admiring to see these public speakers. We see them after they spend a lot of time and energy practicing and honing on their skill. And delivery is very important, because if you have the best presentation and you give it to two different people,
there will be different.
The impact will be different. One person who is using the nonverbal communication into their favor, so like different tonality in the voice, engaging the audience, like the eye contact, having right gestures, having also proper kind of poses and facial expressions, the impact will be quite different from another person who's monotonous and not using nonverbal communication.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure that the same presentation given to me or to you, it will be completely different.
The effect on the audience.
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course.
Because, for example, Osamote does is during your presentations, he uses a lot of jokes. But when he tells a joke, he tells serious, okay, serious, and then you laugh, of course. But I will not be able to just say something very serious because
It's
only
different,
this
but I mean, it comes by
two
practice.
different people
Yeah, it's true.
make
it's
it
true. Yeah.
completely different.
Yeah.
The message that you get, the same attendees, the same audience can get a different message is two different
Two different,
people.
yeah. So the delivery is quite
yeah.
important to take feedback about,
But again, don't try to mimic someone else.
Yeah.
Just be you.
Yes.
That is the most important. It's like, I know that I cannot stop smiling. I'm sorry, but it's me, and it's
true.
okay. I don't need to be serious. So be you during your presentation, and
you will not be seen across as authentic, right? Be yourself.
Yeah, be
Everyone
yourself.
else is taken, so
Yes.
be yourself.
So yeah. So now that we talk about delivery,
Yes.
so I'm sure that that is completely different to deliver an online talk like we are doing here, right? At the screen, we are looking at you guys, but through a screen or in person. For example, for me, online, it's not so, I don't know, I don't put myself so nervous as if I'm in person, okay? That people are seeing all me. So there are different ways and there are different tips, things to do if you are doing an online presentation or in-person presentation. So,
but also it's not easy. I mean,
No,
the fact
no,
that
no, no.
it might be easier, of course, that you can be in your pajamas or something.
not
And
well,
even if you're not turning on the camera in a Zoom presentation, I mean, it's still not easy. So there are certain tips and tricks that we would like to share with you,
Yes.
certain thoughts of kind of an optimal way to deliver an online presentation
Yes.
as well. Because nowadays we are mostly
Yes.
giving our presentations online. Right?
But I think it will change.
Yeah, I think,
I think. So let's see. But so this will be next week, okay, at the same hour. So but this, and after we will continue. So we always will try to do Thursdays free masterclasses about different topics, but we'll do. So stay tuned. And now we have already some questions.
Yes,
I will
okay.
read here in Instagram.
Please.
So Juliana, Juliana, says how to deal with the languages barrier when you get nervous in a presentation. So what do you do?
Yeah, so here comes the
And I
practice. Here comes practice. So I know that a lot of us are giving presentations not in our native language, and there is a language barrier. And actually, that's why it's very important really to practice if you're not very comfortable with the language that you are delivering your presentation through. So for example, I mean, it is inversely proportional to how comfortable you are with the language or not. Like for example, if I am giving a presentation in my native tongue, then probably I don't need to really focus on the aspect of the language because it comes natural. But if I'm giving a presentation in another language, and this language, despite the fact that it's my second or third language, I'm not that comfortable, then I need really to focus in order to rehearse. And what I do personally, because I give certain presentations in French, I mean, French is my third language, kind of. I'm quite fluent in French and everything, but the problem was sometimes you forget a sentence or a phrase or something like this, and you block. And in certain cases, if you're on a stage in front of people, what I always do is that I have cards in my hand. There's no problem whatsoever with having cards in your hand. And every card is really with the topic or the theme that you are talking about. So it's not exactly what you need to say, but really points, and maybe certain points just kickstart your thoughts again in order to be able to really overcome this block. So the cards, it's very popular. All presenters are using cards. Even in the Oscar nominations, the Oscar nights, they always use cards, and they have a teleprompter. So there's no problem whatsoever to have cards. I mean, not really big papers, but like small cards that you can have in your hand, just to be like aiding you if you have any kind of mental block while you are giving a talk. And there's no problem whatsoever, even if you don't have the cards and you have a block, to
Or just say it,
to take a breath. If you have the luxury of having a sip of water, you take a sip of water. Everyone would be happy for you to take like a few seconds rather than being blocked for 1 or 2 minutes, and it will be awkward for the audience, right?
So that I always do is to take a bottle of water or have some tea with me, and if I see myself that I'm in this situation, and I drink and I start thinking again. Also, other thing that it already happened to me, I was sorry guys, I'm just forgetting the word, or sometimes sorry guys, I'm just remember the Spanish word or the Portuguese word, okay? And this happened to me when we moved from Spain to Australia, okay? Australia, they have a specific kind of English, and in the beginning, I was worried because some words I was thinking, maybe they will not understand. But then I was like, no, forget that. If they don't understand, they will ask me, what does it mean? Okay. But if I see myself like blocking, drink a piece, like
a sip of water.
Or just say, I'm sorry guys, I just remember this word in the language that you are talking, Portuguese, Spanish, for example, and try to find other word. But it's okay. At the end of the day, no one really noticed that you are blocking. So it's our minds. Our minds are like make a bigger problem that there is, and people don't notice.
The very important tip also, because I was coaching a lot of TEDx speakers, you have to be present. So you have to be present, what you were doing on the stage. A lot of speakers, after they finish their presentations and come off the stage, what do they do is that they cannot remember what they were doing on the stage. Sometimes we tell them, you were doing this, I cannot remember that I was doing this or that.
Yes.
So you have to be present. If 100% of your brain is really focusing on the delivery and what you are doing, instead of 50% only on delivery and the other 50% on what are the people thinking of me, and I forgot this or forgot that. Remember that no one knows what was the original script of your presentation, and no one knows what you forgot or not. So if you forget something, just proceed. Don't say sorry or anything, just proceed. And sometimes it depends on the venue. It happened to me that I had a mental block in the beginning, and people, when they saw that I was blocking, so what they did, they started really clapping in order to cheer me up. It happened in a toast of a wedding, and I blocked, and they really cheered me up, and this made me reassured and re-energized, and I actually remembered everything, and I continued.
And also, sorry to spoil, to be the spoiler, but when we are thinking, oh my God, people, what are they thinking? They are thinking about what I'm doing, what I'm not saying. No, people are not thinking about us. I'm sorry to tell you. No, they are thinking in their places, oh my God, I have to do this, I have to do that. They are not thinking about us. So don't feel that everyone is looking at you. No, they are with their problems, with their things. And what you need to do is to talk to them, to kind of get their attention and to teach them something. So it's think always about them, that you will do something positive for them, okay? And it's that you can think that, they are looking at my, at my pants. No, they are not. They are looking to themselves and thinking about their problems. It's like that. So
try to
it's
enjoy.
not about us.
Enjoy what you are doing. Enjoy the moment. Savor the moment.
Yes.
It shouldn't be very stressful. There is a little bit of stress that will be motivating and inspiring for you and pushing you forward, but not crippling. So a lot of nervousness and a lot of anxiety would be crippling. No, we need just a little bit that gives you a kickstart in the beginning. It's always, even for seasoned speakers, they tell you the first minute on stage, it's horrifying for them. Even for me, when I give a talk, the first maybe 30 seconds, but then after that, you become, at ease.
Because it's normal, because you never met those people and you want to do a great job, right? And you think, maybe, no, don't think like that. It will be always okay. And it always seems worse for us than for the people. Believe me, it's So let me see if I have other question. Thanks a lot. Julian is saying thanks a lot. Your tips are very helpful.
That's great.
What else? I don't know if in YouTube.
No, there are no questions.
No
yet.
questions. Okay, so I don't know if someone else had any other questions. But if you don't have today, okay, if you have
Yes.
tomorrow or next week, you can just write to us and ask, and we will give our advice, our tips, what we do basically. We'll
just
tell
shout
you.
out, and we will be very happy to come back to you and give you all the advice that you need.
Yeah.
So it was a great pleasure today, and if you have any questions, again, send them over, and we will meet next week to tell you our tips and tricks of how to deliver a great online presentation.
Yes.
So stay tuned.
Yes. Thank you so much for being there.
Have a lovely evening.
See you.